The best X frames in bodybuilding start with some massive delt development. And today we're going to go through the 3 lowest hanging fruit that are going to maximize your delt development out on the gym floor. My name's Luke Miller, owner of J3U Coaching, part owner of J3U University, where we have elevated the standard of coaching not only through the education and the coursework that we provide, but in the applied arm through J3U Coaching, how to maximize your physique development and apply that to every type of athlete. As it doesn't matter what class you're in, I guarantee you that we've won in it. And so that is the thing that we're going to be looking at today, walking out on the gym floor, is how do we maximize that development for you with your shoulder development to make sure that you have the best X frame on stage with those first few shots leaving a lasting impression. For massive delts, we need to look at where the lateral delt is going to be our primary mover. This is where we start to look at anything out in this lateral raise plane. Now, something to understand is part of programming lateral raises is how do we get the most lateral delt development that we can out of the movement, but also not have it cross over into leading into some potential shoulder pain and making a negative outcome on our pressing later in the push session, whether it's overhead pressing or chest pressing. And so when we look at this is where doing lateral raises in the scapular plane is going to be our best option for this. Our side delt's going to be a primary mover, whether it's directly out to the side or even out into like that 30-40 degree range in front of our body, where it's also going to be the primary mover. When we get out into that 30 to 40 degrees out in front, closer to where that scapula moves around the rib cage, the scapular plane, we can avoid some potential for injuries and niggles, whether it be supraspinatus, whether it be trap involvement, and ultimately getting into a place where lateral raises are purely hypertrophy and not bringing us pain from being out into the side plane and bringing involvement of other body parts that can lead to shoulder pain long term. So whether you're doing your lateral raise out to the side or in the scapular plane, you're going to be getting a lot of lateral delt. The secondary question that we're trying to answer is how do I get the most lateral delt with the least amount of negative effect? And that's why I truly believe all of your lateral delt raises should be in that scapular plane or as close to it as you can get. Secondarily, we're going to be looking at rear delts. Now, one of the biggest mistakes I see is actually in programming rear delts. It's tacked on at the end of a back day, or it's so far deep into a session that you don't really get much out of it. And if it's something that you really need to prioritize for that full round delt, especially from the side shots, especially from the rear shots, and helping you create that large X frame look in all angles, it's something that we need to be very attentive to how much quality of work that we put in, not only from how it's programmed, but also on the execution side, as there are some execution mistakes that we'll see, usually being that traps are wanting to take over the pattern. And really the biggest goals that I'm trying to accomplish with clients is we want to have some sort of forward lean with a reverse pec deck or even a reverse cable fly with the hand at about shoulder height, and then maintaining that position while we drive that abduction. Now, if we do a good job of maintaining that, it's hard to miss a rear delt. There are some things that can happen where you like elevate the shoulder or you drive retraction instead of the actual abduction moment. But like if you set up these cues, the setup drives a lot of the actually training the rear delt, and you'll get a ton out of just doing these small things right. Lastly, let's talk about getting delt development out of pressing without getting the shoulder pain that goes alongside it a lot of the times. A lot of times you're trying to play square peg in a round hole. You get into a vertical bench. In order to match your ability to move, in order to press, you create this large upper back arch. Maybe you move your butt forward in the seat, and then you're trying to get like into this position where you can press in the overhead. Where if you were to actually just look at this torso position, we could create a safer position for your actual shoulder and your scapula to be able to stabilize this by just dropping this incline back to the amount of incline you need to sit flush against the bench and press into the overhead without having to create a lot of arch. In my opinion, this one setup piece, if you just change this one thing on a setup, you're going to drive so much more delt development out of your pressing and stay away from potential shoulder injury over the long term. Now, there's a lot more that goes into it. This is why we have courses like the Applied Hypertrophy Optimization module to go into the nitty gritty. But if I wanted you to take one thing on maximizing your delt development out of pressing so that you could have a better X frame long term, it'd be this one setup thing of matching the incline to your ability to press in the overhead and making sure that you have full contact on the bench so that you can safely press in the overhead and not have any issues long term. What we just showed on the gym floor are the low hanging fruits for maximizing your delt development. Now, everybody's different, everybody's individual. Prime example is some bikini girls with great external rotation can press into the direct overhead, where your 300-pound bodybuilder who can barely scratch his own head is going to have no ability to be able to do that. That's where things like coaching and J3 coaching with all of the coaches that we've mentored over the last few years and delivered results on stage with can really help you take tailor program design and how you execute patterns in the gym floor to make sure that you get the most progress out of this. So if anything, at least take this video and go use it in your next push day. Drop some comments in the video below with feedback on how it went, any issues you ran into. But if you want to take your physique to the next level and you truly want to customize not only the program design being written for you, but being able to follow up with your coach every week on, is what I'm actually doing on paper being realized in the gym, make sure you check out the link for J3U coaching in the description below, and we'll go through your goal set and everything you need out of a coach and match you to the best fit for your needs at J3U coaching. So if you guys need anything else, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. We have a ton of content coming your way weekly now. So turn on that notification button, because a lot of information for you to become better at developing your physique, better at being a bodybuilder is going to be coming your way every week.